Okay, part 7. Why South Korea is worse than America. Here I'm going to talk about a lot of zoo animal related stuff. I went to a zoo a couple months back, and it was strange because there's all those signs in American zoos, don't feed the animals. Well, in Korea you can feed the animals, and I think there are signs that say don't feed the animals, but everyone does it anyway and no one stops them. Of course, naturally, I had to do it too, because, you only live once. And I was feeding a gorilla some corn chips, and it was almost I felt kind of bad for the gorilla, because there he was, like, sticking his hand through the bar, kind of, like, begging for the food. And I'm like, man, like, he's kind of in prison here. Like, this is bad. And yeah, Koreans are just like, oh, animals, they're for our entertainment. But, I don't know, a little part of my inner hippie was like, I want to free those monkeys. I want to make them free in the wild. But, yeah, so I thought that was kind of bad. And also, I think a lot of the enclosures in the zoos, like, really small. Like, I think I read somewhere that, like, Korea has some of the worst zoos in the Western world, or in the industrialized world, rather. So, I definitely saw that. The San Diego Zoo is this, like, really big thing, and lots of animal care and respect, but Korea, not so much. Not so much. And then another thing. This country is so incredibly developed. They've used every piece of land that there's pretty much no nature reserves, or reserves for the wild animals of Korea. Every Korean person will deny this. They'll say, oh, the Korean tiger still exists somewhere in the DMZ. Well, the DMZ is filled with like 10 billion landmines, and no one's seen a tiger in 50 years, so they're pretty much gone. And then when I went to the zoo, they labeled Bengal tigers as Korean tigers. And I'm like, no, this is incorrect, Korea. Your tigers are long since dead. You have kind of pushed them all out of your own country. So yeah, they say they still have these tigers, but really they don't. And another thing, I went to like the mountains and stuff, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll see some animals here. But even in the mountains, there are enclosures with like wild deer. Well, they're no longer wild because now they're in an enclosure. But they like built cages or big fenced areas near the hiking trails, so when people are hiking, they'll be guaranteed to see at least one animal. And I don't think you understand, South Korea, what the purpose of hiking through nature is. Like, you want to be like random chance of seeing an animal. You don't want to like force the animal into a caged region where you can walk by the trail. Oh, there's a deer. Wow, this is exciting. It's not exciting. The deer is trapped. Yeah, so that kind of made me a little mad. They definitely don't have any like concept of nature preserves like we do in America. Like 75% of Montana is Yellowstone National Park. I explored that place a lot, and I think that's cool that America has this respect for their nature like no other country in the world does, in my opinion. And then another thing I want to talk about. Koreans eat weird animal parts. I probably should have had this in my last video. But, yeah, I've been to like so many Korean restaurants. I'm like, oh, hey guys, what do they serve here? And my Korean friends are talking. And they're like, oh, it's a part of a cow. I'm like, oh, what part? Cow intestines. Cow anus. Pig ears. Like, I don't understand South Korea. I don't. Why do you eat the most random parts of the animal? Where does like the good parts go? Where is the real meat? Like, I don't want to eat a stew of bones. I want to eat like meat. Yeah, I don't know. I guess in America we just waste a lot of random animal parts that Koreans would go crazy over. But yeah, there's lots of weird animal parts to eat. And yeah, So anyway, that's part 7. Part 8's coming soon.